Hello and welcome to another episode of Heart of the Matter. I'm your host, Annalisa Bahadur. Today we want to look at what happens in the mind of an anxious attached person. We're going to be exploring the various aspects of how they feel in a relationship, what triggers a bit of anxiety and discomfort, and what is it that makes them so or appear to be needy and clingy. Before we get into the topic, I'm going to ask you to hit the subscribe button. You don't want to miss the following episodes, and perhaps share this with someone. We never can tell who it's really going to help, right? Well, let's talk first about what anxious attachment looks like. An anxiously attached person tend to crave closeness and intimacy in their relationship. They want to be close to their partner, and they're often seeking reassurance, and they can display anxious behaviors. They overthink a whole lot, and there's a lot of worrying about the relationship, where it's going, who they are in the relationship, trying to be their best selves in the relationship and showing up for their partners as best as they possibly can. They also have a very strong desire for reassurance, and that can make them appear needy and clingy, especially if they're dating someone with an avoidant attachment style and that partner starts to pull away because they need control and independence and space. But the reason the person with the anxious attachment needs that reassurance and may cling on to their partner is because there is this fear of being rejected or abandoned. Anxiously attached individuals also exhibit a really high level of need for validation, like I mentioned earlier, and a constant need for communication or to be in constant communication with their partners. They may frequently ask for reassurance. So you may get a question like, are you happy in this relationship? Or is everything okay here? Are we all right? This is them hoping that you're going to say, I love you, I'm here for you, I'm not going anywhere, or something that implies that. They often question their partner's love and commitment. And of course, that's where you'll get those questions like, are you happy in this relationship? They're looking for reassurance that everything is okay and that you're not going to just get up and leave like everyone else has done in the past. And that is because the biggest fears for someone who is anxiously attached is being rejected, abandoned, or feeling like they're not lovable, that they are not good enough, that they will never be chosen. They're often afraid that their partner is going to lose interest or may find someone else. And these anxieties are often driven by that fear of being alone and not being worthy of love. So what someone with an anxious attachment style needs to feel secure is that they need that constant reassurance. They need it to be consistent. They really, really need open communication and transparency. And they need to know that their partner is emotionally available for them as they are for their partner. They benefit from very clear and direct expressions of love, understanding, and validation. If you can regularly display your affection and be consistent in your support, that will help them to build trust and feel safe and secure in the relationship. Now, the big question is, can an anxious attached individual change their attachment style? Absolutely, yes. And I would know because I was an anxious attached for a very, very long time, and it was a very difficult and painful experience. It took consistent work, effort, awareness, and to show up for myself in love, to learn what my values were so that I could set boundaries to protect those values. And in that, I was able to move into a secure attachment. Now, I can only speak for myself. I am triggered from time to time, but instead of being in that space of hurt and anger and not feeling good enough for weeks or days or hours. Now I could quickly catch myself within 5 to 10 seconds and say, this is not my story. This is not who I am. I'm safe. I'm powerful. I'm secure. And that takes away that feeling of needing to be validated by someone else. So through self-awareness and therapy, personal growth, someone with an anxious attachment style can develop a more secure attachment style. A few things that you probably want to do if you're moving into a more secure attachment style, or if that's what you want for yourself. You want to heal, you want to stop this need, this pain that comes from needing someone to see you, to find you worthy, to find you valuable, to validate you. These are a few things that you want to do. Self-reflection is the most important thing. We've got to take responsibilities for how we feel and how the external world, the way people around us act and behave, has the power to control our emotions. And that is something that we give to them. We give them that power. Now we need to learn how to take it back. We need to recognize the patterns and triggers that allows you, an anxious attached person, and then understand the root causes of the things that creates these triggers. So you want to be able to dissect your thoughts and your feelings like you're a detective there. Therapy, particularly cognitive behavior therapy and attachment-based therapy, can also provide the support you need to modify your attachment style. You want to be in a space where you are building your self-esteem. You're practicing self-care. And I mean real self-care, like journaling, meditating, getting comfortable within the discomfort of sitting with yourself. I'm not talking about the self-care of retail therapy or going to a spa. Not that anything's wrong with that, but when we're talking about healing in self-care practices, we're talking about the deep work that heals but releases stress at the same time. We also want to make sure that we are nurturing and cultivating secure relationships, because when we are in these relationships, especially with people who are not healing their anxious attachment or their avoidant attachment, then we're constantly triggered. And I'm not saying that triggers are a bad thing. In fact, triggers can be a really good thing if we are grateful for the trigger because we see that there's a lesson for our own personal growth in them. What I mean by that is when we are triggered by something and there's pain or discomfort, whatever that discomfort is within us, then we know that there is something there that we need to examine and heal from. So triggers, red flags, it's not always a terrible thing. It becomes a negative when it starts to severely affect your physical health. And for that, whatever your triggers are, only you can judge for yourself what triggers you can accept right now in your life and which ones you'll have to walk away from. On that note, I'm going to thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for following my work and supporting my work. Share it, subscribe to it if it's been helpful. And until next time, on the next episode where we talk a little bit more about attachment styles, understanding your attachment style and understanding your partner's attachment style, and also learning how to heal from attachment styles into a more secure attached person. I'm your host, Annalisa Bahadur.